everyone. Welcome back to the Spicy Bookish Podcast with me, Nikita.
And me too.
Also known as Ginger and Spice.
Lovely.
So this is our Daddy Week podcast, and I'm not going to lie, we were just talking before we started recording, and it's weird for us, this one, because we had a good time when we were reading our books, both of us, separately, and it's so weird how we've both had basically the same experience. We enjoyed the books, but after finishing, we're both a little bit like, it was all right.
I think my issue
fine.
was having to do two love books back to back. And, like lovey-dovey, angsty, tension-filled, all of that stuff. And I was like, I need something hella spicy to break this up.
Yeah, and I was the opposite way round, which is so weird. Because I had two really spicy books and then went into a third. And I don't know if the third one was going to be really spicy, but it didn't start off like spicy, but it was still giving me similar vibes. And I was like, I can't do this again. So I was like, I need something fluffy and lovey-dovey to balance this out. And it's so weird how we had like the same experience, but the opposite way round. So for me personally, maybe TMI, but I'm going to attribute it to my cycle, because when I got to the end of the second daddy book and I started the third, I was like, I'm just not in the mood. I need something emotional, because that's where my emotions were. That's where I was in my cycle. And I was like, I know if I go ahead with this book, I'm probably not going to enjoy it. So I DNF'd Big Daddy by Daisy Jane. And then went and found myself another book, which obviously I'll talk about in a minute. And I ended up loving it. Like, I had such a fucking good time. But I think also, as well, that is why mood reading is also important.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
we have a good combination of, like, a planned schedule and planned books. But then we do also mood read in between. So we don't necessarily read the same books at the same time, because we're not necessarily in the mood for those same books at the same time. But also, we do switch things up. Like I said, if we're not in the mood for it, really, really not in the mood for it, then we will, move on to something else or change it to something else. And I'm so glad I did, because I had a far better experience. I reckon it would have taken me fucking ages to get through that Big Daddy book.
Yeah.
It would have felt like a slog. And in hindsight, I wish I had done that first, because I actually do think I would have enjoyed it, because it did start off with like quite a bit of banter, but I just was not in the mood for that like sexy flirty banter. I wanted like fun, dorky, cute banter.
Aww,
do you know what I mean?
yeah,
that's
nice.
what I wanted, and that is what I got in the end. And I ended up going for like a single dad cowboy, and it was fucking fabulous, actually. Yeah, so that's it. That's actually, I don't really have anything else. I don't really have much preamble ramble in me today.
Oh no, we've got to talk about that email that we got.
Oh yeah. So I was just saying, I was just saying to Tia again, just before we were filming, that I was like, oh, did you see that email from that place? I'm not going to say the name.
We can't say the name.
Asking for a collaboration, and I didn't reply to their first email. I will tell you what they're about in a second. I didn't reply to their first email, and then they sent a follow-up email as well. And I was like, I probably should reply and say that's not for us. But basically, they are, I don't even know how to describe it. They have various things on there. One of them is like audio erotica. Fine.
Love it.
It's not done, I would imagine, as tastefully as Quinn. But also there's like other things on there, but they have films. And they dubbed it as ethical corn.
What makes it ethical? That's what I want to know.
So they said things like, everyone's over 18.
Which they mostly
should
are
be anyway. I mean, obviously we know in like standard corn practices that's not always the case. We know that that does happen. Everyone's over 18. It's all consensual. Everyone has, signed up to be there. They want to be there. And I don't really know what else makes it ethical. I obviously looked at the website and did a little bit of research, and you can like sign up. I think it's like a subscription fee thing, I think. Like, I get it. I get what they're doing. I do get it. And I can see how they landed on us. You know, I think the initial email was like, you know, we're thinking about going, you know, promoting into the spicy book space and that kind of thing. And I said to you, didn't I? I can make the correlation. I can see how they ended up with us because, you know, we are all about like female empowerment and owning your sexuality and all that kind of stuff. However, I know that I cannot get on board with the term ethical porn, unfortunately. I just can't.
Do you know what? I'm all for the spicy books. I'd be happy to do that collab. The old Spicy Bookish.
Yeah.
Spicy erotica bookage. Lovely. I am not getting on board with ethical corn.
No, that's where, like, because I went to a website and I was like, okay. And then it was like films and I was like, hold on a minute. Wait a fucking minute. And then that's when I was like, yeah, not do that, I'm afraid. We all have, you know, we all have a line. You know, we probably could have requested a substantial amount of cash. But, you know, women in that industry are, whether you tell me it's ethical porn, like, how am I going to vet that? How do I know it's ethical porn? Like, if you could tell me until you're blue in the face, it's because of this and it's because of that and because of this. How do I know? How do I know? Unless I'm physically there experiencing it and looking at it with my own two fucking eyeballs and I'm in about their offices every day. How do I know it's ethical? Like, and I don't want to be doing that.
All of them are going to say that. All of them are going to say that they follow those three practices.
Obviously.
So then technically everyone is ethical. So what is the difference?
And we know that's not the case. We know that's not the case at all. And for something like that, in an industry where lines are blurred, lines are crossed, things are not being consented to left, right and centre, and it is actually it can be a very unethical and toxic industry, especially for women. I'm not even touching that. There's no amount of money you could actually pay me to cross that line and promote something like that. Absolutely not. But I wish I could tell you the name, because the name is actually very funny. I mean, if you guess it or you want to guess it and you want to DM us, feel free. But I'm not putting it out there in the world. And I'm really sorry if you're from that company and you're listening to this right now. I apologise. We don't mean any offence. We do not mean any harm. If you do have ethical, really great practices, great. I'm really proud of you. That's really great. Unfortunately, no thank you.
I'm really proud of you. Well done, you.
Yeah. Congratulations, but no thanks.
Yeah, it's not for us.
We like to have a laugh with everything. We we don't mean to sound like dickheads or anything like that.
But
we just thought it was quite funny.
Funny.
It's the whole the name, but also the whole ethical corn situation. I was like, is that really a term? It feels like, because is there anybody out there that associates corn with being ethical? It feels like an oxymoron, doesn't it? To say ethical corn. That doesn't feel right.
Yeah, but they can't just put corn, because straight away we'd be like, no. I mean, we're saying no anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Even with it being ethical. But just adding on ethical, it's just made it really funny, because it's like...
Is it though?
This is how we're going to swing our way around all of these and get loads of people on board, is by saying it's ethical though.
Yeah, no.
So,
and actually, they've got no way of vetting whether it's ethical or not. So, anyway, so that happened. But yeah, that was a fun little preamble ramble talk. Yeah. We've got Ella back on board for editing the pod now, because things have gotten a little bit manic over at Ginger and Spice HQ, over at Spicy Bookish Podcast HQ, over at Science Sealed and Spicy HQ.
It's mental.
Yeah. It's all
There's
got
so
a little
much
bit
going
manic.
on. One simply doesn't know where one's head is.
Yeah.
All of the time.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, actually.
It really is.
So if everyone could give Ella a nice welcome back.
Welcome back, Ella.
Welcome back, Ella. And beforehand, Ella it was more in like a loosey-goosey capacity, where it was just a little bit more relaxed, but now we've got so much more going on that it's probably
there's no longer loosey-goosies.
Yeah, there's no loosey-goosies left. All the goosies that were loose have gone.
It's nice.
The goose has gandered.
Oh no.
Hashtag dad joke. Mum jokes. Anyway, should we get into our daddy week?
Woohoo!
I'm just going to try and rattle through these.
We say this every time.
We do say this every time. Okay, so my books for Daddy Week are Daddy's Addiction by BJ Alpha, The Doctor by Nikki Sloane, and West of Forever by Corinne Michaels. I hope that's how you say her name. And like I said, I did start Big Daddy by Daisy Jane, but I DNF'd it. Probably maybe like 5 chapters in or something, 6 chapters in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got away then.
A little bit, yeah. But I just wasn't vibing with it. I didn't get to any spice.
Yeah, fair play. Okay, my books are Torn by Carrie and Cole, Taylor's Father, which I fucking love the look of this book. It's by Penelope Ward, and then Praise by Sarah Kate. And I had a wonderful time. It was just that Torn and Taylor's Father were very similar in certain ways, and I was like,
I've had enough of that now.
I hate love.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were all great. So
yeah. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump straight into Daddy's Addiction by BJ Alpha because it was my lowest rated book and it's probably the one I've got the least to say about, in all honesty. So we obviously did Domination by BJ Alpha, and I didn't agree with that book either. And you know how you said recently about Jade West, I don't think it was on the pod, it might have been on Patreon, that you just think that maybe she's just not for you. And I think that's okay to admit that maybe someone's writing or the content of their books just isn't for you. And I feel like that with BJ Alpha. I think maybe this person's writing, not even the writing, it's like the content of the books.
Yeah.
I think some of it's just not for me. It just borders into an area where I'm just not really vibing with it. However, I think I did enjoy this more than I enjoyed Domination.
I love Domination.
There was just one thing in this that I couldn't... It's one of those situations where once you see something, you can't unsee it, and once you hear something, you can't unhear it. So once I knew it was there, it felt like it was just there all the time. And I'll tell you what it is in a second. So I gave this 3 stars and 5 chili peppers. And I gave it 3 stars because it was just like... I didn't dislike it. Yeah. Not at all, by the way. But I didn't have the most amazing time of my life either. So it was like, I say this all the time, but like a 3.5 is just over a down the middle rating for me, where I did enjoy it more than I didn't enjoy it, if that makes sense. And my 3 is just like, it was fine. I'll probably never think about it again for the rest of my life. So its tropes are daddy, stepdad, stepdaughter, age gap, estranged stepdaughter, mafia, mistaken identity, she still has her V-plates, and it is part of the Mafia Daddy series. I did contemplate whether I was going to go in and read the next one, because when I tell you it was so short and it was so easy to consume and it was so spicy, it does make a good palate cleanser. There's just some things in her writing, the content of the books, that I'm like, oh, that's not for me. Yeah. That's not for me at all.
That means there's something very random in it.
Yeah. So overall, I did enjoy the spice a lot. Like, I think I enjoyed it because it was the whole stepdad, stepdaughter, the forbidden / taboo element of it, and like the tension of it. Obviously, it all moved very quick because it was a very short book. So I think at full speed, so at like 1 speed, I think it's something like 5 hours. It's not long. Like, it's very, very quick. So if you're a 2-speeder, you'll get through this really fast. I did. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it was that put me off. So bearing in mind, this is stepdad, stepdaughter. She was estranged, and then she turned back up after she was of age. Like, he just didn't have anything to do with her. And then she turned up at his house after she was of age, and he didn't know what she looked like. So just bear that in mind. So he called her nickname Little Girl.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like in spicy situations as well. You know, when it was like I was enjoying the spice, I was enjoying the situation, I was enjoying the scene, and then he'd say something. He'd be like, you know, this is not verbatim, but you know, something like, suck it, little girl. And I was like, oh, can't do that. not on board with that.
I don't know if I could do that.
You've made that really fucking icky.
Oh,
that's not verbatim. I don't know if he actually said those words, but that's just as an example. He was using it in spicy situations, so then it would like ruin the scene.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, this is good and this is really good. And then he would say little girl, and he would use it outside of spicy situations as well. And I'd be like, can you just stop fucking saying that?
Yeah.
Like, to the point, I felt like he was saying it so much where I was like, I wish I had the Kindle, because it's not on Kindle Unlimited. I wish I had the Kindle copy so I could type it in and see how many times he says it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how much I noticed.
Wait, where did you read it then?
I audiobooked it.
Oh.
Only because you have to buy it on Kindle.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And because it was only like 2 hours or 2.5 hours, whatever, I was like, I'll just chuck my headphones in and clean my dressing room. And that's what I did. Yeah, I couldn't unhear it, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And I did write down for that. Yeah, and based on that, the little girl thing, if this book was longer, I'd have DNF'd it.
Yeah.
But because it was short, and because I paid for the audiobook, and because I was already busy doing stuff, I was like, I'm just going to ply through it and listen.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that long. But I did find that really icky. It did hinder my enjoyment. So rundown is basically Tommy is a bit of an addict to like sex, booze, drugs, because his family were the cause of him losing his first and only true love, if you wish, years ago. And he's never gotten over it. He bears a proper grudge about it, to the point where he just refuses to be a part of the family's mafia business. So he just doesn't get involved with it at all. Like, his dad knows, he's just not interested in being involved with it. So Tommy has these hookers lined up basically nightly to come round and pleasure him, but he never really enjoys it because it's like an addiction. It's like, it's not actually satisfying, and in his head, when it's on page and it's happening, he's like, this is making me feel physically sick. Like, it's making me physically curl up. Like, but he just tells her to like carry on, because obviously it's an addiction. He's trying to get out of his own head about this whole situation that happened to him. So basically, his dad back in the day made him marry this like widowed woman with a kid, but he didn't want to do it. And I don't understand. It was something to do with like alliances in the mafia or whatever it was. The mafia aspect didn't play a big part in this at all. But he made his son, Tommy, marry this widowed woman, and she had a kid. So he then inadvertently became a stepdad.
Yeah.
Anyway, he refused to be involved, didn't want to get to know her. And then I think, and this isn't a spoiler, I think the woman either died or she just wasn't around anymore. I think she became a bit of an addict herself because of her becoming a widow in the situation. Anyway, Mafia Daddy, Tommy's dad, says to him one day, look, your stepdaughter's actually turning up. We need to look after her. Like, she's coming to stay for a little bit. However, I need to fuck off out the country for 6 weeks.
Classic.
On business, obviously. So you're going to be home alone with your stepdaughter that's of age that you haven't seen in years. So Tommy's like, whatever. I mean, I don't want to be a dad. I couldn't give less of a fuck about this if I physically tried. And his dad's like, look, please, can you just for once just look after her? Just do something. Just look after her, please. Anyway, so obviously Tommy in his head, he's not really thinking it. He's thinking like some fucking kid's gonna turn up or whatever. So anyway, fast forward, his dad's gone, and ding dong, the bell goes at the front door. So Tommy goes and answers the front door. A woman is standing there. She's in a school uniform. And he's like, oh, nice. The agency have really stepped up their game. Cool. I like this. Whatever this is, they must have upgraded me or something because I'm such an avid user of their services. So yeah, he starts like putting it on her thinking she's one of his hookers.
Oh, fucking hell.
Starts putting it on her and she's obviously like, what the fuck? Doesn't say anything because obviously she's actually secretly enjoying the tension because he's obviously very attractive. And so she starts like, she says like a couple of things and he's like, oh, she's really getting into the role, isn't she? Oh, this is good. Like, I'm gonna have to give these people a fucking raise. Like, this is good, this is. And then anyway, the butler comes over because obviously they have a butler. So Jeeves comes over and he's like, sir, your guest has arrived. And Tommy's like, yeah, obviously. I can see that. And the butler's like, no, sir, she's in the driveway. And he's like, what? And he's like, so he steps back. He's like, oh shit, fuck. Realizes it's her.
Yeah.
And he's like,
nice.
get to your fucking room. Like, go get to your room. Go to your bedroom. So she kind of like scarpers off. but she's like sort of like raging about it. She obviously clocks on to what's happening, and then she's like sort of raging about it. She's like, that fucking prick thinking he can do that, blah blah blah, you know. She's like, well, you know, if he wants to play games, I can fucking play games too. Fucking game on, sunshine. So yeah, and then she comes down, you know, the next morning or wherever it is, and you know, in skimpy clothes, and she's all like, she pretends like nothing happened, and he's a little bit weirded out about it, and he's like, so we're just not going to address it or whatever. So then she starts flirting with him and all this kind of stuff, and then yeah, it just basically escalates from there. Really, but she's like proper bratty about it, which, you know, is kind of mad to me, because for someone that still has their V plates, I was like, that's a very confident stance to take.
Very. How well did she take
with an older man?
Losing said V plates.
Yeah, well, it was like a ramming it situation. There was a scene, like the first scene. So you've actually just reminded me about this, because I actually didn't write this down. So she was on her period, and she didn't use tampons, so she had pads. Honestly, it's not relevant, but it is relevant at the same time. You'll understand if you read it. So obviously he doesn't like go in, but he puts the tip in her rear area, and then there's like blood in places and stuff, and I was just like, I'm not, because she's like, she goes down, she says something like, I need to go to the pharmacy or something like that, and he's like, why, what's wrong? And then he's all like, oh my god, like why am I so concerned about her? Like, I couldn't give a shit about any other women at all ever. But then he ends up taking her to the pharmacy, because she's like, oh no, it's women's problems and stuff. He's like, I'll take you down there. So then he takes her down to the pharmacy to buy like women's stuff, and she's on her period, and then things get heated between them, and obviously he can't go in her area, so he goes in her other area, but it's just the tip, and then there's blood, and it was just like, oh.
That was so much to unpack. I don't even know where to go from here.
Yeah, I mean, none of them make any effort to like push against what's happening, and they've got like 6 whole weeks, obviously, of where it's like just the two of them, and they just basically just get it on, you know, for the whole time, really.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's obviously very insta lusty, insta lovey, especially like love does come into play very quickly. Breeding kink, there's pregnancy in this. Yeah, it was fine, you know. It was my favorite scene. So I've written here, I didn't actually take notes as I was listening to it, so this is from memory, but the best scene was when, so they're in bed together, and his phone starts ringing, and it's his dad calling from wherever he is, just to check in and make sure that, you know, everything's okay. So the dad is like, oh, you know, is everything okay with you guys, and blah blah blah, and he puts the phone on loudspeaker, and she's obviously there, and he basically sort of says to her, take it out, suck it, whilst on the phone, you know, whispering to her and stuff like that. And then eventually it escalates, and she ends up, like, he tells her to straddle him, so she gets on top, and then he just, like, slams her down, and then it's, like, whispering all these things in, like, her ear, obviously whilst he's still on loudspeaker, and obviously in my head, I'm like, he would be able to hear that.
Oh, for sure.
So then she lets a couple of moans slip, and then he's like, oh, is she there? Like, the dad on the phone. He's like, oh, is she there? Are you there, sweetheart, or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I'm here. And he's like, you sound out of breath. Are you working out? And she's like, yeah, I'm working out. And then he kind of laughed and went, oh, is he working you hard? And then she laughed. It was like, yeah, he's working me really hard. And I was like, LOL. That's actually, that's quite funny. But it was hot. It was hot. I mean, we love a good phone call scene, don't we?
I love a fucking phone call scene.
That was definitely the best scene in it for me personally. And I don't remember any little girls being used in that scene either. Good. But yeah, that was a decent scene, to be fair. But yeah, like I said, it's not on Kindle Unlimited, hence why I didn't annotate or take notes as I was reading it, so all my notes were from memory.
Yeah.
And I found that really difficult, actually. I know you can clip parts of the book, but like if you're busy doing stuff, you've got to get back to your phone.
Yeah.
Unlock it and clip it, and by that point, at 2 speed, you're further along, and it only clips 30 seconds around it, so it's sort of like, it feels a little bit redundant to me. And you can't, in the new, and I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but in Audible you can now do read and listen. It's like 2 tabs.
Yeah.
But you can't highlight in the read and listen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's great, but it's also fucking pointless if I can't highlight anything and annotate as I go along. I'm glad I didn't pay for that to get the Kindle copy. Yeah, it was good for the most part, just found it a little bit icky in places. But I guess, you know, to some degree, that is to be expected when you're doing like these kind of daddy books, because everyone's line is somewhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Especially if it's more like a daddy kink book.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be
Yeah, like if it's like a single dad, ex-boyfriend's dad, that's different. When you venture into the realms of actual daddy kink, that's when you start, the ickiness creeps in. And everyone's, like I said, everyone's line in the sand is at different places for where their ick falls. Do you know what I mean? In regards to that, it is to be expected. It's very subjective.
Okay, the first one that I'm going to do is Taylor's Father by Penelope Ward. So this one is one of the ones, you know, when we done that thing on socials and we were like, we need more books where they do it at the start and then they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know who each other are.
Oh, nice.
So this one, we have got Blair, that's the FMC. She's 19 years old. And then we've got Tate, which is the MMC, and he is 36 years old. And it is Taylor's Father, which is her best friend, which is a boy, by the way. So I gave this 4.5 stars. And the only reason that it wasn't a 5 is because it's in 2 parts. So the first bit happens and then it's 4 years later and then the rest happens. But you went straight into them finding each other after the 4 years. Whereas I wanted it to be like, show me their separate lives for a little bit and then bring them together.
I would want that too. I agree. Yeah.
And then like the rest that was in part 2 sort of like dragged out a lot. And I was just kind of like, okay, cool. So if that was fixed, then that would have been 5 stars. And I gave it 3. Shully papaza. It was really good. The beginning was amazing. The beginning was so fucking good. The beginning was absolutely 5 stars. Like, it was incredible. So they are away at a hotel. So she got gifted to go to this hotel for a week because she's just broke up with her boyfriend. And Taylor was like, go to my family's hotel, do whatever you want, have some cocktails, you know, have a good time. She was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. So she's there, and then Tate is also there because he's just like lying down low. Like, he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life at the moment. He's just trying to kind of figure himself out. So there's this sexy dating app where obviously you want to do bits, and it picks up people that are like in your area. So she opens up the app. She's having a little look, and then she's like, oh my God, that's the guy from the lobby when I checked in. And he's fucking hot. Oh, fuck it, I'm going to swipe. So she swipes, and straight away they match. So her thing is, on her profile, she's put that she's 29 years old. Yeah. And that her name is Dolores.
Lols.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dolores. So they end up matching. Anyway, so then they're like messaging each other, and he's like, oh, I thought that you were like a lot younger than what you're saying. Like, I can't believe it's you from the lobby. So then they're like, why don't we just meet each other? You know, nothing serious. We can have a few chats, maybe have a few drinks. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll meet you downstairs in like half an hour. She's like, see you then. And just like them having that conversation, I was like getting all giddy because I was like, oh, this is so exciting for you. So she goes down, and straight away he's like, no. He's like, there is no fucking way that you are 29, and there is no fucking way your name is Dolores.
Yeah.
Like,
obviously.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, she's like proper trying to blag it, being like, it is, yeah, it is, like, and all this stuff. Anyway, so he ends up getting out of her that she's actually 19. But he still doesn't get her real name. So he calls her Doris Dolores, like, the whole way through. Oh. Doris Dolores. Because, like, she's picked an old name. So he's, like, calling her that. And I really fucking loved that.
That's cute.
It was really, really cute. So they go their separate ways. He's like, no, not interested. But she's like, I'm getting that man. I'm gonna fucking have that man. He is a bit of me. Anyway, so, and he's like tattooed. She calls him like a Viking at one point, and I was like,
oh, you like a Viking, don't you? Yeah.
I fucking love a Viking. So they go their separate ways. The next morning, she is going diving, and she turns up at the diving place. It's just her there, and the guy's like, oh, there's one other person coming. Oh yeah, obviously. So what he says, it was fucking hilarious. Honestly, I'm getting giddy just thinking about the whole of the beginning of this book, because I had a great time. When he comes down, so he says, don't believe anything she says, because obviously she's a liar. And then the guy that's working there says, is this your daddy? And then he says, she fucking wishes.
Yeah, nice.
I love him. I love him so much.
That is an on-the-nose response.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, nice, yeah. Quick
and then he says, why are you here? And she says, I wanted to challenge myself. That, and it was the only available excursion. I was sort of looking for a distraction after a botched hookup with some old dude earlier. I love it! So they decide to go on just like friend dates. So, you know, like, they'll go to dinner together.
Yeah.
Like, they go to dinner and then they say to the waitress, she says to the waitress, oh, it's my dad's 50th birthday. If you could just bring a cake. Like, and they just do, like, all these little things. Like, they go to yoga. They do couples yoga. And he's, like, obviously fuming because she decides to have a man do her back. And she's, like, topless. So he's like, she's got all the side boob out in my face. And there's another man, like, with his hands on her, like, and he just could not handle it. And she's like always like being like, just fucking sleep with me, it's fine. Like, I'm of age, like, you can do it, just let go, like, I know you want to do it. And he's like, you're too young, you're not for me. But they end up like spending like 5 days together, and it's just exquisite. Like, it's just, they are just perfect. I'm going to go into my 2 favourite scenes. My 2 favourite scenes are during part 1, but I'm just going to say, she leaves a note which says, we've had an amazing time together, and I know we're meant to be leaving tomorrow, but I'm going to leave now, and we're not going to have this extra day together. I just think it's been perfect, and I don't want us to have to say our goodbyes and all of this stuff. He fucking loses the plot. He's like running around the hotel, he's trying to find out who she is, like, he's like shaking because he's so upset that she's left. He gets back to his room, he's like nearly in tears, and then she knocks on the door and says, April Fools.
Oh my God, you're joking.
Yeah.
I was so heavily invested in that.
I
then.
know.
Oh my God, that sounds incredible.
He was like, oh my fucking God. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She was like, did I upset you? And he was like, yes! And then obviously that's when they decide that it's going to be a thing. It's going to be we're going to do it now.
P and the V
A
time.
P and the V! Anyway, so P and the V, and then he's like, can we stay an extra day together? She's like, yes, perfect. So the serious frustration I have about this next part is so upsetting. So before he leaves, he goes, look, I'm going to give you my number. You don't have to give me your number. I'm going to give you my number, and then if you decide that you want to see me when we get back, then let's do it. But, you know, no pressure. Everything is fine. So she leaves, and then her bag gets robbed. So she loses not only his number, but all of the pictures of them together from the whole holiday and everything. And then you go to 4 years later. Honestly, it was fucking... I was distraught.
Were you like, what do you mean 4 years later? Is that what you were like when you were reading it?
It was horrible. And then you go, and then it's Taylor's wedding. You go straight into Taylor's wedding, so they end up finding each other straight away. And then it kind of unravels because he's with someone else, and there's a secret that she's been keeping, and that's what unfolds after that. But honestly, part 1, I was like a giddy fucking schoolgirl. I was kicking my feet and everything. They were like hiding from each other at the wedding a little bit. He was with someone else, and she was like, oh, because they were both thinking like, we don't want to upset Taylor now that we know who each other are. So they were kind of trying to stay away from each other, but then they could. He ended up stalking her and everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking incredible.
Oh, it was so good. So my favourite scenes, one of them was so fucking funny. So both of my favourite scenes are in part 1. Because. So the first one was, they went skinny dipping in the night. And they were like holding each other, and it was all very sexy and stuff. And then, boom, she gets stung by a jellyfish. So then she's like, oh my God, you've got to get me out. She's like, oh my God, it's one of those ones where you die straight away. She's like, you need to do something. He's like, oh my God, I need to get you to the AI. I need to get you to the ER. I need to get you to the hospital. Yeah. She's like, we don't have time. You need to wee on it right now. You have got to wee on my leg. He's like, I'm not weeing on your leg. She's like, wee on my leg or I'm going to die. He's like, I'm not weeing on your leg. She's like, you need to wee on my leg. So this is the first time she sees his pee-pee, and she's like, fucking hell, it's massive. Like, for a start. So he whaps out his massive pee-pee, and it's just pissing all over her leg. And then he says, he Googles it, and then he says, okay, it says here the urinating on a jellyfish sting is a myth. And he looked over at me. What made you think that was a good idea? And she says, I saw it on Friends. Chandler peed on Monica after she got stung by a jellyfish, and she felt much better. He said, Friends. And you take that as science. Honestly, it was so fucking good. That was such a good scene. And then my second favourite scene from part 1. So this was just before... I'll explain it in a minute. So she does the first, look, let's not see each other tomorrow. Like, let's just end it here. You're clearly not going to sleep with me. I'm done. Let's just leave it. It was nice meeting you. I'm going to my room. So she goes to her room and she's on the bed and she's like, just thinking about life. And then she gets a phone call on the phone. And she's like, that's weird. Why is someone phoning me on the hotel phone? Picks it up and he's like, all right. And she's like, yeah, you. And he's like, well, I just thought that we could do some mutual masturbation on the phone, seeing as I can't touch you, but we could do it on the phone. And I was like, yes, you fucking can. So that's what they did, and it was fucking lovely.
Oh wow, yeah, nice.
He said, stick your fingers inside and pretend it's me, and she put only one finger, right? Because she was saying he's small. And then he said, you're such a brat, but since you asked, as many as you can fit.
Nice. Delicioso.
That's it, really.
I feel like I went on a little journey there.
Honestly, even just speaking about it now, I would probably read part 1 and just forget part 2 exists. I'd be like, let's read part 1. I'm not even going to read that she lost her bag. And in my head, I'm going to be like, and then they just went home together.
And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah. And everything is fun.
Okay, I'm going to go into The Doctor by Nikki Sloane. So I gave this 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, but I think my official rating was actually 4.5 stars that I put on there. Chili's, I did 4 to 4.5. It did have anal, but it was also really quite cutesy as well, which took me by surprise. Okay, so the tropes in this, daddy, obviously, it's ex-boyfriend's dad, age gap, he's a doctor. They have secret meetings. Okay, so I'm going to start with a rundown and then I'll give you my thoughts after. So we've got Cassidy and Preston. They are high school sweethearts. They've been together for like 3 years, but they've both sort of grown and changed since then, but especially Preston. He's a bit of a like entitled and spoiled prick he's turned into now, and she's like, I'm not really into this person that you've become. But obviously she feels like bad because they were really good together and they shared so many amazing memories together, and like going to prom and all this kind of stuff, and like she's got so many pictures of him, so she feels bad about the fact that she now wants to break up with him. But like she's like, he only ever seems to be interested in me if he can stick his peen in me.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's just becoming a bit of a prick. Like, if I walk into a room and he's, like, playing video games, he's not really interested, doesn't really acknowledge me. Like, he's just not bothered. And, like, her granddad died or something like that. And, like, he didn't bother going with her to, like, the funeral. And he just said he was, like, busy and didn't bother consoling her or anything like that. So, anyway, she's like, I don't want to be with him anymore, so I'm going to end it. So she goes over to his house. She gets in the pool with him. And they're just kind of like floating in the pool, and he like immediately starts trying to put it in her, like straight off the bat. He's like just trying to get with her, kissing her neck, and she's like, look, we need to fucking talk. We need to talk. I can't do this anymore. This isn't working for me, blah blah blah. And then he obviously kicks off. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? And he just thinks that she's having a tantrum. Anyway, his phone goes off, starts ringing, so he like jumps out the pool, answers it, it's his boss, and he's like, where the fuck are you? You meant to be at work. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not in until Wednesday. And the boss is like, it is Wednesday. Get into work now. Oh. He's like, shit. So he just leaves. Doesn't even say goodbye to her, doesn't say we'll talk later, nothing like that, just fucking scarpers off. So Cassidy gets out the pool, she goes indoors to get changed, but Daddy Preston is there, aka Dr. Greg Lowe.
Oh, Greg
is in the house. And obviously he knows that like something is kind of like gone on or whatever. So she goes into this room to change. He like knocks on the door. He's like, Cassidy, look. He doesn't know that they've broken up, but he knows that his son is a bit of a dick. So he like goes in his room and is like, look, she's in like her bikini and the towel. And he's like, I really think, you know, this probably isn't my place to say it, but I really think that you should break up with Preston. Like he's not a good guy. He's not good to you. Like, I can tell that you're not happy, like that kind of thing. And then she sort of like starts crying. She breaks down, and then he like hugs her. And as they're hugging, their feelings grow beyond just a casual, consoling hug.
Oh.
They both start to get a little bit excited. And then it all gets a little bit passionate. He like pushes her against the wall. He puts his leg in between her legs. Her towel falls off. And Yeah, like he's putting his hand in between her bikini strings, like that kind of situation. So it all gets very passionate and very heated. But anyway, the moment ends, and then everything just sort of spirals really from there between them. Neither of them like try to fight it. Like they're both like, oh, you know, it shouldn't have happened. You know, this can't happen, but I want it to happen, and it is going to happen. Anyway, he ends up being to her like, look, there's a vacant house down the road. It's up for sale. Park your car there so no one knows you're here. Come back and then go up the stairs to the side. This might have been like another day. I can't even remember now. But she comes back many, many times. So he's like, park your car down the road and then come up the side steps because they lead directly to my balcony into my bedroom. So that's what she does. And then they just start having these like little secret meetings. And even when like Preston is in the house and he's like with his mates and stuff. So she comes back. Oh, that's when it is. So she leaves that day after the pool incident. She comes back to have a talk with Preston because he's not taking it seriously. I think it's like 2 weeks that go by or something. And she ends up saying to Preston, look, we need to talk. Like, I need some closure because you didn't even say bye to me that day. Yeah. So she turns up. His mates are there. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, we're supposed to be talking about this. So he's like, oh, come on, come into my room. So they go into his room to talk. He tries putting it on her again straight away. And she's like, no. We're broken up. Like, I'm literally here for closure. We're not getting back together. I'm here to make sure you know that this is done. Yeah. This relationship is over. And he's like, oh, I just thought you were having a tantrum or whatever. So then she storms off, goes upstairs, and then that's when Daddy Preston is there, and he's like, go and park your car around the way. And then she goes up, and then, yeah, she goes into his bedroom, and then they start getting it on. And obviously the tension and the whole, like, sneaking around situation adds to, like, how hot it is. And the reason that they got it on so quickly is because, so, like, a little bit of time before that, she was getting it on with Preston on the sun lounger by the pool. Yeah. And for a little while she'd been like, he just doesn't really please me, like, you know, I'm not really getting off or anything like that. And then so they're in the middle of doing it on this sun lounger, and then she turns her head and realizes that Daddy Preston is watching. Dr. Lowe is watching, and then she basically imagines it's Dr. Lowe after that, and that's how she manages to get off. So she then eventually tells Dr. Lowe, because they've never spoken about that situation, that he was watching them that time, so the tension has been building between them since that situation. Yeah. So then obviously when after the pool incident, when she breaks up with the son, obviously that tension finally breaks then. Because she's like, oh, I just broke up with him. And he's like, oh, thank God for that, you know, and then pushed her against the wall. Yeah, and it just kind of all spirals from there, really. And then obviously they do get caught, you know, and they do get caught by the son. And do you remember in Your Dad Will Do? Yeah. And I really wanted that situation where when they get caught and they're in the middle of it, I really wanted that whole clocking eyes because she's in the middle of finishing or something like that, and they don't stop. It wasn't like they get caught and she scrambles and then blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm going to compare every being caught situation.
Oh, because it was incredible though, wasn't
to that. It? Oh, that was like utter perfect. Even if you didn't like that book, that scene and what she says after that was utter perfection. Mm-hmm. And any time that I read like a ex-boyfriend's dad or whatever book, I'm just going to compare the being caught scene to that. Yeah. Because it was just great. But yeah, obviously it's a book in its own right, and I shouldn't really expect it to be like that. But so there's a couple of scenes I did like. One of them was the two of them actually do it on the sun lounger because he wanted to recreate that scene, but with him actually this time, and not obviously the son. So they do it on the sun lounger. That was really nice because he's like, you know, whispering in her ear and all that about how it should have been him and stuff, and how were you thinking of me when, you know, you were doing it and blah, blah, blah. And then the other one, which, you know, slightly falls into the realms of a little bit icky, is, you know, I brushed over it. He does tell her that the night that they went to prom, she had this, like, really sexy dress on. I mean, it was like really low cut cleavage, like down to her belly button or whatever. And he was like, that dress looked incredible on you. And, you know, I just wanted to turn you around, bend you over, flip the dress up and do you from behind on like the nearest surface when I seen you in that dress. So one night she turns up at his on the balcony and she like rushes in. She's like desperate to just get it on with him, but she's got a little bag with her. And he's like, hey, oh my God. He was like, what's the bag about? And she's like, don't worry about that. Throws it on the bed and she's like, you know, getting it on. And then she's like, look, why don't you go and get us a drink? Go and get us a wine. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'll go and get us a wine. So he goes off, gets a drink. She runs into the bathroom with her little bag. Puts on her prom dress. Puts on her sexy little prom dress. And then he comes back upstairs. He's got 2 glasses of red wine. And then she comes out the bathroom. And she's a little bit shy about it because she's obviously like, oh, fuck, what am I doing? Is this, like, ridiculous? So she comes out and he's just standing there with the wine. And he's like, you know, dumbfounded, obviously.
Of course.
And then she's like, oh, this is so stupid. You know, she's thinking to herself, she's about to turn around. And then he basically takes one of the glasses and just chugs it down in like 3 gulps, sets it down. And then he tells her to like come out and then lean against, it was like the dresser or something, but lean against the nearest surface and hike the dress up. So he goes to her, show me. Because she said something about, he said to her previously, were you wearing any panties under your prom dress that day? And she said, yeah. And he said, what one? So she told him. So then he says to her in that scene, show me. Meaning, show me your panties. So she leans against the surface, hikes her dress up really slowly. It was so hot and sensual. And he's like, touch yourself. Show me how you touch yourself. Just sitting on the bed now with his little glass of wine or whatever. And she gets all shy about it. So he's like, whips it out. And he's like, okay, you know, I need to give her a bit of confidence type thing. Nice. So he just whips it out and starts stroking himself, and he's like, show me how you please yourself. And then I think she ends up like on her knees at one point after that. And then, yeah, eventually he does get her up, turns her around, flips her over and flips the dress up and does it from
how he wanted.
Like he wanted to. Yeah. And I was like, that was incredible. And then my favorite scene is, and I think it was the very first scene that they actually do it. So they're doing it kind of, he's on top. And then just as she's about to finish, he pulls out and says to her, flip over on your knees. Yeah. On all 4s. So she does that. And then he like grabs her by the hair. So he rams it in from the back and then he grabs her by the hair. He like pulls her up so she's more standing and then turns her face so she's facing the mirror. Yeah. So nice. She's watching them. And the way that they're angled, she can like see all the movements. Yeah. Going in and going out. It was just, and then there was like a little hand play and everything. It was wonderful.
It sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was, because some of the scenes were honestly so hot. I could actually go on for days about the scenes between them. Every single spicy scene did slap hard. They really did. Quick and easy. It was 291 pages. It is available on audio. I immersive read this one. And yeah, deliciously spicy. It wasn't icky at all, especially compared to the previous one. The only thing that did sort of go into the realms of that was the whole prom dress situation. I was a little bit like, I'm not too sure about that. And it is part of a wider series. I think the next one is called The Architect, and then the one after that is The Pool Boy. And I'm very excited, The Pool Boy, because The Pool Boy is reverse age gap.
Oh, no. And he is going to be the pool boy.
He is the pool boy after her divorce, and she's got the house or something like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm all over that. So I'm 100% going to carry on the series, especially if they're all only like 290 pages.
Yeah, that's what I read.
An audio. They're good, like, little in-betweens. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to carry it on. There was also, like, obviously they played up on the doctor situation. There was, like, they were in the hospital at one point in, like, a private hospital room. And then, like, he had his little doctor's white coat on. Oh, yeah. Because obviously, as you would expect, you do want, like, a little doctor-patient situation, don't you? Yeah. So you do get that, by the way.
You've got to have a doctor's scene. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is Praise by Sarah Kate. So it turns out that pretty much everyone has read this besides me. So that's really great.
Literally.
So the rating I gave this was 5. I fucking loved it, and the spice was a 4. Chili papas! Okay, so we have got Charlie or Charlotte, who is the FMC, and then we've got the MMC, which is Emerson, and he is her ex-boyfriend's dad, and he is daddy. He is hot as fuck.
Yep.
Oh my god, I nearly drowned myself in my own saliva. So Charlie breaks up with Beau, which is obviously her ex-boyfriend, and he's like, I want the deposit back for the flat, and she's like, well, where did the money go? And he's like, oh, it's gone to my dad's. Can you go and get it, because I'm not talking to my dad? And she's like, sure, just give me the address. Gives her the address. She turns up at the mansion, because of course he's got a mansion.
The dad's rich because he's the owner of one of the owners of Salacious Players Club, which is what the series is called.
The Kink Club. So she turns up, and the assistant's there, but Emerson's not there. The assistant's like, oh, just come to his office for a minute, and then can you just get on your knees by his desk? And she's like, what the fuck? Why do I need to get on my knees? She's like, yeah, just make sure you're on your knees, because obviously he won't be happy about it if he turns up and you're not on your knees. So he normally gets girls from an agency And, you know, that's the kink. Be on your knees, pet him, all that shit. She's like, what the fuck? So she, like, gets on her knees, and then she's like, hang on, what am I doing? I'm not doing this. So she goes to walk out, but then he's coming up the stairs, coming towards her. And he's like, you should be on your knees. She's like, why? Why do I need to be on my knees? And he's like, well, you want your money, don't you? Because he's like, well, you want paid.
Yeah.
Whereas she's like, well, I want my deposit. So she's like, oh, for fuck's sake. So she just gets on her knees. And then she's like, I don't even know what's going on here. And then, was it like someone from the agency turns up? No, I think they're chatting, and then they realise that she is the.
Don't they have a conversation
girlfriend.
about the money or something like that? And then I think it comes about. I mean, it was ages ago I read it, but I'm sure there was something to, like a conversation about the money. Or does she say something about the son, and he says something like, "How do you know my son?" or something like that? I can't remember
what it was that they were saying. But anyway, so then he's like, "Well, who are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm Charlotte. Like, I'm Beau's ex." And he's like, "Oh my god, get up! Like, don't be on your knees! Like, oh my god." Anyway, so he gives her the money, writes her a check, and then she's like about to walk out, and she's like, "Hang on a minute, I can get some more cash here. I get some more cashy schmoons." So she turns around and she's like, I could tell people, you know, about me being on my knees. I could let other people know. Then he gets his checkbook out and he's like, fine. So he writes her another check and she gets $5,000. She's like, yes. He writes down the little number and then he's put SPC on it.
Salacious Players Club, yeah.
Yes. So then she's like, goes home, Googles it. She's like, oh, that's nice. Oh, I'm into that. Anyway, so she goes to work at a little ice rink and then he turns up and he's like, I've got a job for you. Would you like to be my secretary? And she's like, is it in a kinky way? Like, do I have to do any kinky stuff? He's like, no, literally just be my secretary. And she's like, yes, I'll take it. So when she starts, she's like, oh, fucking hell, he did just want me to be the secretary. Like, he didn't want anything else.
She turns up in, like, really sexy clothes
Yeah.
as well, didn't she? I was
She
like,
buys,
you go,
like,
girl.
new lingerie. She's got, like, this see-through blouse on and this skirt, and he's down bad.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'd bend her over that, like, immediately. Anyway, so then they end up, like, kind of having chats about how she wants to know more about the kinks and stuff like that. She's like, what do you think my kink would be? And he's like, I'm not really sure. He's like, I don't really want you getting involved in all of that. And in the end, she's like, will you just help me? And he's like, yes, I will be your dom, you will be my sub, but it won't get sexual. Famous last words. Because how did it get sexual? Very, very sexual. Very, very sexual. So, yeah. So then it that's exactly what happened. It got sexual.
They had that. Didn't he give her, he basically gave her like a whole document and there was a list of stuff that she had to tick or not tick as to stuff that she wanted to do. So
she had to like rate everything from 0 to 5. And she rated most things 5 besides, like, peeing.
Yeah.
Peeing, and there was something else. Fisting.
Yeah.
So peeing and doing that. She was like, nah, that's not for me. But everything else is fair game. And I was like, girl, me too. Me too with Daddy Emerson.
Oh, he was great.
Oh, he was so hot. Honestly, what a man. So, favourite scenes. I've got 3. And I've got a final thought because I do. So I'm gonna rapid through these because everyone's already read this, so that you'll know what I'm talking about. So my first favourite scene is when it was the reopening of the kink club, and they were like having a dance, and they're touching on each other, and she's getting all hot and bothered, and he's like, go and have a look around. So she ends up going like to like this secret area, and there's people having a freeway, and she's all like hot and bothered, and then suddenly he's up behind her, and he's like pressed up against her. And then he's like, touch yourself, you know, enjoy it. And then so he grabs her hand, lifts up the front of her dress, and then places her there. And then she uses her fingers on himself. And then once she's finished, he then dips his finger in and tastes her. You, sir. Yes, please. That was incredible. And then my next favourite scene, because this came out of nowhere, and I was like, this is great. So Drake, the construction worker, and his mate were like, how did this even start? There's a toy. There's a toy in the club, and she's all annoyed because Emerson's gone off with this woman that he used to know who actually brought the toys in. So she's all like fuming and that. And then Drake, who's the construction worker, is talking to his mate, and his mate's like, you know, do you know if this toy's any good? So then Drake's like, why don't you test out this toy for us and let us know if it's any good? Because doing it in public would actually be quite hot. So she's like, yeah, all right, fuck it. So she goes to the toilet, pops the thing in, and it's like a clamp situation, like that. So it goes in and then it clamps onto like that. So she comes back out, and then Drake's like on the little clicker, and then it just goes off, and she's like, oh my god, no, turn it off, like we can't do this here, oh my god, but carry on. Oh my god, no. Anyway, so he's like proper buzzing this thing, and she's about to finish, and then Emerson comes storming over, and he's like, what's going on here? And then Drake is just like, she's using the toy because we wanted to know if it was like a good thing, like we wanted to know if it was good or not and if it worked. And then he's like, right, we're going to lunch right now. So he takes like the little remote, trot off to lunch, and then he just edges her at lunch. And it was fabulous. He says things like, you can take it. I like the way you beg. Eyes on me. Whilst they're at lunch. And all of those things are incredible. And then my last favourite scene. So after they finally do it, he says to her, tomorrow morning I want you to come in and I want you to be wearing something very sexy and I want you to be on your knees. So he gets in the morning, she's there on her knees, and he's like, right, strip. I just want you in your bra and panties. And he's like, and then you're just going to sit at your desk and do all of your work in your bra and panties. So it gets to about noon and he's like, I can't cope with this anymore. I've done no fucking work. All I've been doing is staring at her. So he tells her to come over, and he gets her on the desk and he said, can you read this email for me? But you've got to read it perfectly because I need to understand it perfectly. And then he uses his fingers on her, and then as she finishes, he's like, keep reading. So then she has to keep reading. Then he ends up bending her over the desk and ramming it home.
Nice.
Oh, what a beautiful working relationship. I fucking loved it. And then my final thought was, so there's a scene in it with her and Eden. So when they're trying to make him jealous, but they only end up kissing. And I was like, that could have gone further. They end up kissing, then he storms in and he's giving it all alpha. And I was like, that should have gone just a little bit further because they both wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think a bit of FF in that situation would have been delightful.
Yeah.
No, that's it really.
So I'm going to get into my last book that I read on my own now. And it is called West of Forever by Corinne Michaels. And once I finish this, Tia will do your last one.
Yep.
And then we'll get into Harley Maddison. West of Forever by Corinne Michaels. I gave this 5 stars and I gave it 2.5 chili peppers. So tropes are single dad, cowboy, small town, rival families. So obviously rivals to lovers. He rescues her, secret relationship, all that good small town stuff. And obviously with this being 2.5 chili peppers, so you can obviously tell that it is vastly different on the spice scale to the other two, which is exactly what I needed. And I'm so fucking glad I read this instead of Big Daddy. And I'm glad I went into like a single dad small town romance instead and swerved. Yeah, I just needed something wholesome. So I was hovering at like 4 stars about midway through this, and then the last third of the book was just so fucking good. Like I couldn't not give it 5 stars. Like I cried, I felt all the emotions, I laughed.
Aww.
Like I belly laughed in some places. It was just so good, and the audio was Conor Cray as well.
Oh, incredible.
And so he was just utter perfection in this. He was the both the narrators, I didn't have both of them down, but both the narrators just did a fucking fabulous job, and their voices suited the characters as well, like really, really, really well. I did debate whether to give it like 4.5 because I think like, I know in my head it's not like a 5-star rate, but it was like that was a 5-star read.
Yeah.
Do you know what
nice.
I mean? You know what I mean
cute.
when I say that, don't you? So, rundown. It's based in Infinity Ridge, and I believe there will be more books in this series. I think this is the only one out at the moment. I believe it's freshly out as well. The only reason I know there's going to be more books is because it's alluded to at the end of the book, and I believe it's going to be all of the MMC's siblings. So there's a bonus scene at the end of the book which you must read or listen to because it provides context on a plot hole in the book itself. So it's not really a plot hole if you listen to the bonus scene or read the bonus scene, but it's really important that you do it. It was also very cutesy because it was from the POV of the dad of the MMC. And I just fucking loved it. I absolutely loved it. Okay, so we've got Tristan Stone and we have Lark Gatlin. Their families have had generations of rivalry, but more so it's kind of escalated in the last couple of decades. So some really bad things happened between Lark's brothers and Tristan's sister and her boyfriend at the time. We don't get the full context of what actually happened. We just know that it's really fucking bad.
Yeah.
So I think once we get to her book, it'll obviously be explained a lot more. At the moment, all we have is this bad thing happened, and now we all hate each other way more than we ever have. So we open the book with Lark driving home one night. It's a storm. Her car breaks down. They're on this like remote road, you know, there's only like a couple of ranches up the road. So she's like, fuck's sake, it's not like someone random's going to drive past. Insert Tristan in his truck, in his trusty, sexy man truck, drives past. And he's like, hold on a minute. A damsel in distress.
Oh,
I must rescue. So he pulls over his truck, rescues the damsel in distress. And he's like, look, you know, he gets out and he's like, oh, fuck's sake, it's bloody Lark Gatlin. And she's like, fuck's sake, it's Tristan Stone. We're supposed to hate each other. You know, they're probably like the two nicest people in their family that are the least concerned with the rivalry. Anyway, he was like, get in the truck, you know, I'll take you home. She's like, we really can't do that. My family will fucking flip if I turn up with you at the house, like, and they find out it was you. And he's like, well, have you called your boyfriend? She was like, yeah, but he basically said, like, it's raining outside. Like, I'm not going to come and get you. I'm not leaving the house in a storm. And he was like, okay, well, what a piece of shit. Like, I'm obviously not going to leave here, so get in the fucking car. So she gets in the truck, and then he drives her home. And on the way home, he says to her, they're just talking, general chit-chat, and, you know, he's talking about a boyfriend and whatever. And he says to her, you should be with a man who would swim through a flood to get to you. And that sits with her then. And she's like, she can't stop thinking about it. And she's like, he's fucking right. This isn't a spoiler. So she ends up ending the relationship. She's like, I can't be with that man. He doesn't give a fucking toss about me. So yeah, I needed to say that because I didn't want it to make it sound like there was cheating in it. Because obviously I referred to her having a boyfriend. Yeah. So she gets home. She doesn't tell anyone it was Tristan. She's just like, oh, it was a good Samaritan that saved me, blah, blah, blah. And everyone sort of buys it and whatever. And then he doesn't tell anyone either. So anyway, he says to her before he leaves her, he's like, text her when you get home so I know that you get home safe. Because he has to drop her at the end of the driveway or whatever. And she's like, okay, fine. So she texts him, you know, I got home, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously they start texting each other. And it's all cute. And there's a bit of banter. And I really loved it. Like we were saying earlier, I think it was it? We were filming the unboxing and you were like, I love a bit of texting. I do as well. Yeah. Especially when it's like little flirty banter in the texting at the start.
I love it.
Yeah, so she texts them and then they just sort of like start texting each other and it's fine at first, you know, there's nothing in it. And then eventually they start kind of like bumping into each other in town and stuff like that because it's a small town romance. So they bump into each other in the bakery and then like everyone's like peering through the windows, like nosy old women are like, oh my god, a Gatlin is talking to a Stone, oh my god, like hell is frozen over type thing. So everyone's like gasping because it's notorious of this rivalry. And then, you know, they bump into each other in like a bar and then she's like, this guy's putting it on her and then he's like, a damsel is in distress yet again. I must go and save her. So he goes and rescues her from this guy and then they end up sort of like, okay, well, we can't make this look really awkward now. We have to look like it was intentional. So they have a little dance together, but then someone takes a picture and then it's like the talk of the town. Oh my God, a Gatlin with a Stone and all this kind of stuff. I really love the kind of like gossip element to it because I grew up in a small town and I know that is factual 100%. Actually, it's way worse than that was depicted. Like the gossiping is exactly like that. Yeah. Like it really is. And I love that. I love that it was portrayed like that. So Tristan is 36, and so for a bit of context on Tristan, he's 36, his wife died like 8 years ago, I think she had cancer, and left him with a 3-year-old daughter. And she is now 11, so obviously those 8 years have passed. The daughter was absolutely adorable. She was written perfectly for that age bracket, because I think it can be a difficult age. I think writing any kind of a kid can be difficult to write. but especially at the age where they're not quite a teenager, but they're also not quite still like a little kid anymore. But she just wrote the kid perfectly. She was adorable. She was so sweet. She was sassy. She was a little bit bratty, but she was also still cute and kid-like. And yeah, she was really great. I loved her. So basically, he's never gotten over his wife dying to some degree. You know, and he's never let himself fall in love with anyone else because he's scared of going through that pain again of the loss. Until he meets Lark. Yeah, and the two of them basically can't stop thinking about each other. You know, it gets to a point where, because their ranches are on the same kind of like bulk of land, so they have property lines, obviously. So there's, you know, she ends up bumping into his kid a lot at the edge of the property lines and stuff like that. Anyway, the two of them are talking one day and they're like, look, we're obviously attracted to each other. Let's just get it out of our system. I want to kiss you. You want to kiss me. Let's just fucking do it. No strings attached. No strings attached sexy time. Famous last words. So that's what they do. They have no strings attached sexy time. And then they get it on. And it's just really sexy. It's really cute. It's really lovely. And she starts getting closer to the daughter, Sadie. She fell off a horse years ago or, you know, some time ago, really badly injured herself, hurt her leg. He nearly lost her, so he won't let her back on a horse. And then Lark comes in and tries to help with that situation, tries to get the horse, like, back on track and all that kind of stuff. And there is also, the last thing I will say before I get into any scenes and my final thoughts, is there's also a side plot of someone is fucking with Lark's family ranch. So they're like letting the horses out in the middle of the night, so they're going into a different field and they're like breaking the fences and putting holes in the fences so the animals are getting out and all that kind of stuff. Just proper like little prank stuff. And no one knows who it is, but her family are adamant that it's Tristan Stone. So they keep calling the cops on him and they keep turning up at his house, and then like he ends up being arrested at one point because he ends up taking her home in the middle of the night after a little tryst. And they've put cameras up, so he gets caught coming out of the barn, and that's what they latch onto. They send it to the police, and the police are like, look, what were you doing there? And he's like, I can't tell you why I was there, because he doesn't want to out her.
Oh,
and it's so sweet.
Love him.
Anyway, so much happens in like the last third. It really kicks off. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, obviously. Like, I do think you should read it. And the whole, like, the first time they say I love you was in like an aggressive like argument situation, because I fucking love you, that situation. And I love me a bit of that. I do.
Fucking love that.
Yeah, and that's it. It's just, it was really, really fucking good. There was no like, I didn't feel bored at any point. There was no like lull periods or anything, which sometimes can happen with like, especially cowboy romances. If they go on a little bit too long, they can get a bit boring in the middle.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on. So I did give it a 5. My only bugbear with this, and I didn't write down for it, obviously, was the spice. Now, we explored the foreplay, not in great detail, but enough to keep me satisfied, enough to keep me going, especially considering the mood I was in when I did want something fluffy. I wasn't that bothered. But as soon as he put it in, the scene ended. There was no exploration of when they started doing it. We were just told that they then did it. So we were kind of told, shown a little bit of like her going down on him or him doing it to her. It got better as the book went on, the exploration of like the foreplay and stuff. But all the scenes ended, basically all of them, as soon as he put it in. And it was like, you know, he slammed me down on him and I rode him until the fucking cows came home. Obviously that's not what she said, but it was along those lines, and that was the end of the scene, and then we cut to the next chapter. Yeah. So it was a little bit like, I need more energy, more footwork, more energy, more footwork. But, you know, I didn't get it. That was my only bugbear. Now, at any other point in my cycle, I may have rated down for that. I may have taken that down to 4.5. Who knows? But it came at the right time. Excuse the pun.
Lucky.
During my cycle. And I just had a really wonderful, wholesome time. And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, it's a bit of a bugbear, but I've really fucking enjoyed the rest of it. So
that's fine.
Who gives a shit, actually?
Gives a fuck?
That was my only bugbear. But I'm hoping, potentially, maybe if other people have fed that back to the author, then maybe we can get a bit more of an exploration of that in the next book. Because it felt a little bit like you were trying to combine open door with closed door. Yeah. And I was like, so the door is ajar.
Yeah.
And that's not working, really, for me, to be honest.
I want fully in. I want action.
That door needs to be off its hinges.
Oh, for sure.
I need with a pair of binoculars.
Especially with a cowboy.
Yeah.
Please.
Absolutely.
Please.
I want to be sitting on the edge of the bed with a pen and paper, you know, and a monocle, watching it go off. You know
I'm
what I mean?
going to be right at the connection.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you carry on.
Yeah.
Just
Don't
watching
mind
the
me.
whole thing.
Yeah, just pretend I'm not here. Yeah,
Not
that's what we
creepy
were.
at all.
Not the door ajar and me just peeking round. But it was fine.
Right up close and personal.
For this point in my cycle, it was fine.
It was fine.
Great, yeah.
Do you know what? I am so ready for some cowboys now.
Oh, me too.
We was meant to have a cowboy week like a month ago, and we didn't have one. And now I'm like raring for it.
I feel like that could potentially be why I also gave it 5 stars and I enjoyed it so much, is because we've been talking about it for a while, and I haven't read a cowboy for ages, because you did Corrupt Cowboys. I haven't done cowboys for fucking ages.
Yeah.
So I needed it badly.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I've done it. But it has given me that kind of like bite
That
back
you're
into
ready.
cowboys now. And I'm like, I think I'm going to have to do some very soon. Okay, do you want to do your last one? And then we'll get into Harley Maddison.
My last one is Torn by Carrie and Carl. Now, this book, I'm still toying. I gave it 4.5 on Goodreads, but I'm still toying with giving it a 4. And I'll tell you for why. Because there were some bits that were tres questionable. So this one it's her godfather / uncle. So it's dad's best friend. But dad and mum had her when they were 15. And he has basically been around since then. And has basically brought her up since then.
Mm-hmm.
So from the age of... So she is now 17 and he is 32.
Ooh.
And he's brought her up the whole time. I can't stress that enough. He has brought her up the whole time. So at the beginning of each chapter, this is what pissed me off more. You didn't need to do this. Just do like a few chapters where you go back in time. Don't at the beginning of every single chapter go back to when she's 2 and he is like a different age. Do you know? And they're like, she's like clinging onto his arm, or he's reading to her, or anything like that.
I can't do that. No.
I know.
No.
Because then you're going to do that, and then you're going to go into a spicy scene, or you're going to do that, and then you're going to go into like some freaking
tension or something. Yeah.
Scene. And I was kind of like, oh, it's making me really uncomfortable, but I can really appreciate that if this didn't happen, this would be good. Do you know what I mean?
I know, yeah.
Anyway, I got through it. I made it through.
Soldiered on.
I soldiered on. Yeah, so it's godfather, uncle, but it's dad's best friend. The FMC still got our V plates, we've got forced proximity, we've got angst for days, and like I said, we've got this whole chapter situation, which actually has upset me a little bit. The more I'm thinking about it, it's getting worse. Actually. But anyway, I only finished it literally like a couple of hours ago. So, you know, by tomorrow morning, I might have thought about it all night and been like, right, well, that's 3 stars now because I'm actually really fucked off.
I've thought myself down a star.
Yeah. So, for now, it's now 4 instead of 4.5 after those few hours. Anyway, so we've got Kenzie, who is 17, and she's battling with, like, being a 17-year-old. Like, her best friend's trying to get her to lose her V plates. She's currently with this guy called Jason, and he wants her V card badly. He's, like, just a bit of a dick. They've only been together for, like, 2 weeks. But she's like, oh, you can't even kiss properly. Like, he's not doing it for me. And we know why, don't we? Because she wants the guy that's fucking next to her at 24/7. Anyway, so you kind of go through that, all of the motions of her doing this. And then you've got Tor, who is into motorbikes. He's around their house all the time because her mum also has had an accident, so she's currently in a coma. So he's also like trying to help them out. And he rescues animals, which is really cute, like off the side of the street. Rescues animals and then takes them to like places.
That's so cute.
It was really, really cute. So he like helps out with all of that stuff. Anyway, so she like helps him out sometimes. She's also his cleaner, so she's around his house all the time. So they are constantly with each other to the point where they say that they're each other's best friends. Which is why since when she was born, they've just always been around each other. Like there's never been a moment where they haven't been. And I think that's probably why in her head she's like, this guy Jason, he's ew. Like, I don't want someone my own age. Obviously, I want someone that's a bit older. Anyway, so, like, you get, like, these cute little moments where they're at, like, little gatherings, little family gatherings, and they're just, like, having chats, and they're, like, so they steal each other's clothes, and, like, they make jokes about it, or they, like, throw coins into the river and, like, make a wish, you know, like, all that shit. It's just really cute. Really cutesy. Anyway, so she goes to her prom, and she's going with Jason, and her friend turns up, and she's like, surprise! We're going to a hotel afterwards because you're going to lose your V card to Jason. Woohoo! And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. She's like, come on, don't be boring. And then the boys are like, don't be boring. So she's like, oh, okay, I'll go. So they go to the prom. They end up back at the hotel, and then Jason is putting it on her, but he is shit-faced, like stinks. You know, like proper bad. And he is like properly, and she's like feeling sick about it. Anyway, she ends up pushing him off, and he's like, you stupid virgin, and all this stuff. So she goes downstairs, she phones Tor, and she's like, please can you come and get me? He picks her up, and then he is fuming. He's like, no man should be speaking to you like that. Like, that is not on. I'm not having it. He's like, I'll go and beat him up now. He doesn't, obviously. But he takes her back to his house, and she's like, don't tell my dad, because he'll kick off, because obviously the hotel, I should have been staying at my friend Chloe's. I shouldn't have been going to this hotel. He's like, it's fine, you just stay at my house. So they get back to the house, and then she's like, oh my God, I didn't even get to have like a prom dance. And he's like, dance with me. Aww. So they dance in the living room, and then obviously they're like up close and personal, and then there's this moment where they think they're about to kiss. So they just like come apart. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to bed now. So he goes off to bed, and then she's like, what the fuck was that? That was so strange. Maybe I like him. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what these feelings are. So then it's like a slow progression of them both realising, oh, you know, like the little touches, the little cuddles, breathing on the neck, like all these little things. And then like so they're like, oh my God, I think I like her more than, like, she's got boobs now. Look at that arse. You know, like all that stuff. Anyway, so then they go and rescue this dog, and the dog's in the middle of the road, and he goes and like runs out of the car, goes and picks up the dog, but there's traffic everywhere. She's like, oh my God, they're gonna die. And she gets out of the car, and she's like shaking because she's like so worried. Anyway, he comes over, brings the dog over. The dog's on the floor. It's like in such a bad way. Tor's all cut his arm up, and she's like touching his arm, and she's like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And then he just grabs her and kisses her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Grabs her, kisses her, then they come apart, and then she's like that, and then he just does it again, and she's like, Tor, we need to talk about that. He's like, I'm not talking about that with you. He's like, that was a mistake, we can't do that again. It was the heat of the moment, this never happened. So then she's really sad, and she's like, but I really enjoyed it, like, I want more of that. She's still 17 at this point, by the way. So then they go like to chuck a coin in the river or whatever, and she's put on the coin, I want more kisses, from Tor. And then he like properly kicks off, and they go their separate ways. Anyway, she then turns 18, and they agree, okay, well, maybe we are a thing. Like, there's obviously something between us. We shouldn't be fighting it anymore. Let's just have a secret relationship. And that's what they do. They have this secret relationship. He takes her V card. It's all very lovely, and obviously at the end it comes out. So I've got one favourite scene, which is that they're outside romantically dancing in the rain, and it's all very cute. And then he says, we're getting pretty wet, I'm going to take you inside now to make you even wetter.
Oh, nice.
So then he gets her in the shower, and he places her hands onto the tiles. We love a shower scene. It's always bloody fabulous. And then he starts washing her, giving her a little wash, a little Washingtons, and then he literally rams it to the hilt, to the point where her toes are curled on the tiles. So her toes are up. He's rammed it home, and then he gets the shower, turns it onto the stimulator, and then puts it on her front. I was like, yeah, I'm into that a lot.
Nice.
Yeah,
I do love a good shower scene.
I fucking love it. And then my favourite quote. This is when Tor was talking after he took her V plates about whether she's safe or not in his company. He says, was she safe? Of course, but Asher wouldn't think so. If he knew, I just spent hours dragging my tongue over every curve of her delicious body, pummeling away her virginity with 9 inches of his best friend, and fingering her into orgasmic bliss while telling her I'm going to love her for eternity. That's it, really. A lot of people have said to read this book as well, and I'm glad I have read it, because there was some parts where I had a really, really good time, and the tension was all just very delicious. but there was just some bits where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yucky.
Okay, let's get into the last book, which is Baby Girl by Harley Maddison. So this is book 4 in the Sugar Life series. This is the last book in the series. There is not going to be another one, so it's rounded off very nicely now. Woo! This was a chunky old book. I think this was like 600 pages.
Yep.
Something like that. So I'm just gonna go straight into stars and chili peppers. So I gave this 4 stars and I gave it 4 chili peppers, and that was mainly because it was like 600 and odd pages, and there was a lot of those pages without any spice, but the last like 70 pages was just like all spice.
Yeah, it went off.
There was obviously scenes in between, very good scenes, very nice spicy scenes. But yeah, it was Tia's going to talk us through basically what each book is like, and you'll understand in a second why there wasn't as much spice in this as I guess you would expect, or especially like as there was in book 1. What did you give it stars and chilies?
So I gave it 4.5 stars and I gave it 4.5 chili peppers.
Chili peppers. Okay, do you want to run us through what each book was?
Absolutely. So 4 books in the series. So book 1 was called Sugar Baby. That was the novella, and this was hella spicy. So this is when she literally became their sugar baby. And it was great. They had a great time. They got to know her. They were like, she's a bit of us. This could work. We like this. So then we went straight into Good Girl, which was book 2. Again, hella spicy. A little bit longer than book 1. But again, this is where they're all getting to know her, but on an individual level. So she's getting to know each of their quirks in the bedroom, shall we say.
So like book 1 is the introduction of her being the sugar baby, and then in book 2 it's like they make her another offer to extend the original contract.
So more dollar bill in the bank, and of course she's going to take it.
Yep.
And they treat her really well. They give her presents and everything, don't they?
Yep.
Oh.
So there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
4 of them.
So she's getting dollar bills and she's getting gifts.
Yeah.
Oh, what a girl. And then we've got book 3, which is called Brat Baby, and this is where she goes into her brat era, and she wants revenge because at the end of book 2 something bad happens, which means she's gonna go full brat.
Yeah.
She's gonna show them what they are missing.
Oh yeah. Book 2 ends on one hell of a cliffhanger. So does book 3 actually, but book 2's cliffhanger was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then book 3. So book 3 was actually my favourite in the series. I think like book 3 and book 1. Book 1 because of the way it was, you were kind of like edged for half of it, and then the second half you finally got into the nitty gritty of the spice. Yeah. And then book 3 because I just loved her in her brat era.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
So good. Anyway, so book 3 ends on a cliffhanger. So book 4, which is Baby Girl, and that's the one that's just been released, and that is where they're trying to get her back.
Yep, so they're in their grovelling era.
Yeah, they are.
And it is absolutely wonderful.
And grovel they do.
Yeah, I mean, so much happens in this. It's all going off in every direction between all 4 of them, and we really got to know them individually so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
Each of the guys.
Yeah.
Who was your favourite?
Xavier. Because he's the one that really inserted himself into her life and didn't give her an option to get away. He just moved in. Yeah. He was like, all right.
That was one of my favourite scenes, was when he just moved in with his bag. Oakley just turns to her. They were sitting on the sofa and he just drops his bags down, and Oakley turns to her and goes, did he just move in? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then just carry on with their day.
But they because they're in college, they just come home and he's just there.
Yeah.
She wakes up in the morning, he's got his little slutty glasses on his laptop.
Eating his cereal.
Oh.
Yeah. She's like, sure, okay.
All right.
You live here now, fine.
Yeah. Who's yours?
Oh yeah, mine is Derek.
Obviously.
Derek, then followed by Xavier.
Yeah.
It's always going to be Derek, isn't
I
it?
could see Derek come in a fucking mile. I saw Derek come in from book 1.
Yeah.
He said 2 words and I was like, that's going to be Nikita's favourite.
Yeah.
I already know.
What was your favourite book in the series?
Do you know what? I think it's book 1 and book 4 are my favourite books. Because I really enjoyed book 4 in the fact that it just rounded everything off nicely. Yeah. And I feel like we got to know each of the guys on a deeper level. And I really did like them grovelling. Yeah. You know, like the little tension moments where it was like, she's like not having any of it. Especially when it was it Darcy and Hudson in that scene where she's holding Hudson's hands when they're modelling.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, just the tension, because the guys are like, let's just keep chatting because she's here and it's all right. But then she just starts crying because she thinks something really bad's happening between all of them. And it was just like, once you all get together, I am going to lose my fucking mind.
It was really good. Book 4 was so good. It really did round the series off so well. We obviously can't get into an actual rundown because it's book 4 in the series, but obviously the basic premise is that she starts college, doesn't have money. Her roommate says, hey, I know this website. And it's for her to find some daddies. And finds some daddies. She does 4 of them, all in a group together, to be precise. And then it's basically just her journey across all four books with these daddies. And that is it. That is a Cliff Notes version of it. It's very spicy, lots of group scenes. There's no but, you know.
Do you know what? There didn't even need to be.
No.
She really took it like an absolute champ.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
she
did.
was everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, fair play.
Yeah, and that last scene in book 4, where it was like 70 pages long, like those last scenes were just absolutely insane, to be quite honest. If you haven't read it, I would strongly encourage you to go and start the series, especially if you're into that kind of thing. You know, if you've read Ruby Sky's books as well, and you enjoyed them, I think you might like this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I think that's it. That's us for our Daddy Week. We haven't done Daddies for ages. Also, TikTok doesn't like the word daddies at all, so it makes it difficult to actually share a lot of this content on TikTok. Anyway, that's it. We're gonna go now. I hope you're all having a lovely weekend. And what is next week? Random shit. Loosey-goosey.
We're loosey-goosey in next week.
That's right. We are loosey. So, do you remember at the start when I said the goose has gandered? The loosey-goose has gandered. The loosey-goose is coming back for 1 week. We're extra loose.
Basically, it's just a wrap-up. But we're just doubling down on wrap-ups.
So it's just a wrap-up for that week. We're just going to be like, hey, this is what I read this week. We're just going to do whatever. I mean, it could change middle of the week. We were contemplating doing like a mid-year check-in, but the research that required, because it was like...
too much.
Favourite book, favourite scene, favourite MMC.
Read 3 books
Yeah.
than do that.
Yeah, I would rather just not turn up. I'd be like, I'm sick, I can't do it. Anyway, we'll see you next week for whatever the fuck that is going to be. Okay, see you all next Sunday.